A long time ago, there was a man who lived in France and he really loved sports. And one day, as he was sipping some coffee, he had an idea to create a new symbol for the Olympics, a special design that would represent all of the countries coming together. So he picked up a pen and he scribbled a design that came to his mind then. It was 5 rings that were intermingled with each other. Because he wanted to show that even when countries come together to compete against each other, they were still united in the spirit of sportsmanship and friendship. And that's how the logo of the Olympic rings came about. You know, a lot of logos that you and I see on an everyday basis have very interesting stories behind each one of them. Hi there, you're listening to What's New Today, a kids and family podcast about real life news stories from around us. This is Sangeeta, your host from India, and in this episode, we talk about why and how the company Pepsi has changed its logo. Joining me to chat about this in this episode are
Hello everyone, my name is Mitans Rajkotia and I am in Delhi Public School, Kamptee Road, Nagpur, and I am currently in grade 10.
Good luck, Mitanj. You'll be taking your board exams next year, right? Good luck.
Hello everyone, I'm Anya Chaturvedi. I am 15 years old and I'm from India. I would be in 11th once my class 10th result comes in.
Good luck for your results. I'm sure, as always, you would do extremely well in your board exams.
Thank you very much.
So, hi Mitansh and hi Anya. My name is Vipin. I'm originally from Kerala, but I've hardly lived there. I've studied in Mumbai for 8 years and then I moved to Bangalore. And I did 7 years of work in advertising. My introduction to creative industry started with design. So the name of my company is Headless Hippies. I'm one of the co-founder and my partner Abhilash is the other co-founder.
Welcome to the show, Vipin, Mitansh and Anya. I just thought we could kick off today's podcast with just 3 rapid fire questions from me. I will give you the names of a company. I'd like you to take a stab at telling me if you remember the logo of that company and if you can describe that logo. Up for it?
Yeah, I hope I don't fail in this.
No, they are extremely common, like super commonplace. These are brands that we come across probably 10 times a day. Okay, the first one is Amazon.
It's an arrow.
And a brown color box in which there is an arrow which looks like a smile.
Previously, it was Amazon and the arrow went from A to Z to show that everything was available on Amazon. But now they've removed the Amazon from it and now it's just an arrow.
Are they right, Vipin?
Yeah, they are right. They are 2 different interpretations, but yeah, both are right. So, like Anya said, the idea was always to convey that you find everything from A to Z. And that's why the name Amazon also, because it's the largest rainforest and it's full of diversity and you'll find anything and everything there. But yes, the arrow also looks like a smile. So I've also seen people actually interpreting it that way also.
Thank you. Second one, Google.
Google has a logo which is a G, capital G, and it has 4 colors in it. It has red, blue, green, and yellow.
So I read a fun fact about the color choices, which is the alphabet L alone comes in the color green. And if you see, the rest of the alphabets are either red or blue or yellow, which are the primary colors. So the Google co-founders wanted to showcase to the world that we will not play by the rules. We will also, we'll be at the forefront of breaking some of the established rules. The last one. This company was called Blue Ribbon Sports. And this was the name of this company till 1971. But today we know it by a different name. Take a stab at guessing what company I'm talking about.
Is that Facebook?
Mark Zuckerberg wasn't even born in 1971. But
Was-
nice, huh? You thought of Facebook because I said blue.
Because it was blue in color, right? And Zuckerberg always makes things blue because he has a blurred vision, right?
Is it Nike?
Yes, it is Nike. So what is the logo?
That tick.
It has a name also, that tick. It's called the swoosh, SWOOSH. But here's the fun fact behind how the swoosh came about. So the person who was trying to create this logo for Nike, right? So she knew that Nike is the Greek goddess of victory. She has wings behind her. So I think I've given you a clue. Do you think you can deduce from that how the swoosh came about?
Is it like a bird? Like if we draw a bird on a, if a bird is flying above, it looks like a tick.
Yeah, I know.
If
We
it's
all
flying
draw
quite
like
high.
that. Yeah. Vipin, is that right?
If you look at the sculpture of Goddess of Victory, the wings are upwards. And so it's one of the wing which is simplified into what you know today as swoosh.
So on that note, let's jump into today's current event. Anya, do you want to tell us what is the topic for today's podcast episode?
We all know Pepsi, we are all well aware of it. Pepsi decided that their previous logo did not really go with what the brand symbolized. So they decided to change it quite recently in March.
Rise up, rise up, rise up.
Any other company which has very recently changed?
Nokia.
Twitter has changed it.
Shall we steer clear of Twitter? By next week, it will be something else.
So we'll also talk about Burger King, who changed their logo very recently.
The burger changed to like two buns on top, and in between there's Burger King written in big letters.
Then there is also Nokia. They did a very recent rebranding. And then, of course, Pepsi is now the talk of town.
Wonderful. So, Mitansh, do you have a sense of what the Pepsi new logo looks like and what it was earlier?
So in the new logo, basically they have changed the font of Pepsi, font size and the font as well. So they want to make the Pepsi written very big.
Vibin, can you walk us through why Pepsi may have changed its logo and also just shed some light on how these logos are created?
Rebranding for Pepsi is not new. They have actually changed their logo quite a bit. They have changed it more than 4 to 5 times. I mean, there are many reasons why Pepsi or any brand would actually rebrand. So if you look at how Pepsi started, Coca-Cola started first actually, right? And Pepsi was started maybe 3 to 4 years later after Coca-Cola. So they were contemporaries. And Pepsi was started by a pharmacist. So they created a similar looking typeface, which was handwritten by the founder then. And after a few years, they tried to make it smooth and it looked very similar to Coca-Cola. And then that's when they introduced the blue into the logo. Now, if you remember, it used to be the cap.
Yeah.
Cap was the logo. And
the rated edges along the circle.
Yeah, correct. So when I was in my school, I remember, seeing a version of that. And that's when blue was introduced. It had a very strong significance with America because it was an American brand. So the blue, white, and red came into picture. And over time, it became even more simplified. It became a globe with the waves coming in, where it's basically representing the cola that you pour into the water and it creates a wave. But they never got rid of the blue and red because it still stands for what America stands for. Slowly their association, right, started getting like this. They started associating with pop culture. So if you see all their ads, right, it's with celebrities, sports, pop stars, Shakira. The brand was talking mostly to a very young audience, teenagers, or someone who is between 14 to 23, right? So it needed to appeal to them. I remember because when I was growing up, I was, mostly watching cricket. So Sachin was always the face of everything, and he was also the face of Pepsi. Shah Rukh Khan was the brand ambassador for Pepsi. Right? So I remember that Ye Dil Mange More. Before Sachin took the brand over, it was the other cricketers, right? Before him, Kapil, Sunil Gavaskar.
Oh,
And I remember this line, Yehi hai right choice, baby. So these lines also have a certain kind of ring to it and whom it appeals to. So that's how I remember the brand. So basically, like how Pepsi evolved also is it's time dependent and it's era specific. So if you look at the first logo, it was designed in a style which was dominant in that particular period. Yeah, the first was a script and it had a lot of ornaments also as part of the logo. Then you have the globe, which becomes into a 3D, because at that time, a lot of them were using three-dimensional objects, like which is basically created digitally, but it gives an illusion of three dimension. So it really gave a sense of that it's a globe because you had a white shine on the red and the blue. And today, again, it's gone back to the classic. They basically recreated the classic logo, but the typeface is typeface. When I say it's the font,
yeah. I thought it would be good to clarify that.
yeah. So typeface is the font. So if you see, they've gone back to the classic, and the Pepsi is in the center, but with a modern touch to the font. It's really bold. It stands out a lot on the can. And for someone like me who has seen the old logo, it's very much relatable.
But like you're saying, the brand really has to resonate to 14 to 23, and neither one of us is in that age bracket. So for Anya and Mitansh, does that resonate?
Not for me. Like, I did not exactly find the difference when I first saw it.
I think it is remarkable because it has a retro feel to it, and it really showcases what the brand stands for. It's bold, it's confident, the big letters, bright colors. Before it was not like that. The previous logo was very low key. It was asymmetrical, the waves in the globe.
And I'm also seeing a lot of these retro elements coming back into design, right? But with a contemporary touch to it.
I discovered something about Pepsi that the reason they changed the logo was that they are reducing the content of sugar now by 57%. So, if someone makes an innovation at the product as well, is it good to rebrand or not?
Not all the time. So BMW introduced electric vehicle, right? Four-wheeler. And so they didn't do a rebranding as such because they were leveraging on what BMW stands for. BMW is always known for innovation, especially in the space of automobile. And what they did was they used Hans Zimmer, the most famous composer, and they made him do a series of sounds for the car. So all the sounds that you hear inside the car is actually recorded by or composed by Hans Zimmer, specifically for BMW, and it's called as a Silent Symphony. Right, so they try to bring in a lot of brand connect in terms of because the electric vehicles don't make sound, right? So there are these small thoughts which they try to kind of put together and come up with solution. Branding is not just visual, it can also be audio. Earlier the logos used to be a static symbol, like it'll always be in one corner of any of the layout, like on the newspaper ad or a magazine or anything. So today Logos are more animated. They don't have a single visual form. It keeps changing.
Wow, Vibin, thank you so much. It's very interesting to know that when companies change their products or they innovate and bring a completely new product line, they don't always have to rebrand themselves. For our listeners here, we wrap up this episode right here. The second half of this conversation will be published on Friday on the What's New Today podcast channel, so stay tuned. In the second half of this conversation, Vibin, Mitansh and Anya have spoken about the stories around Fruity, Nokia, Google and Mitansh's favorite Twitter and how their brands or logos have changed or evolved. But in every episode, we wrap it up with a quiz, and in this episode too, here's our quiz time with a twist. I'll read out the questions here and you can leave the answers for these in the show notes below, or you can email them to us at hello@wsnt.in. So here's question 1. Is the color blue one of the 3 primary colors? Yes or no? Question 2. The logo of the company Amazon shows an arrow. The arrow connects which letter to which letter in the word Amazon? And the last and the final question. The logo of which shoe company has a tick mark? That's it for part 1 of this series on brands and logos on the What's New Today podcast channel. See you soon on Friday with the second half of this conversation. Thanks for listening.